good tip actually. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Don't just say, oh, it's Disney, I'll just give them something free. Don't say that, even though it's true. Hello! Hiya horns! Welcome back, or if you're new around here, hi, my name's Becca. I did the Disney Academic Exchange Program 2023-2024 program. So it's been like a year since my program's finished, and I thought I would finally get over my Disney blues and make a series all about the Disney Academic Exchange Program. If you're applying, which is probably why you're watching this video, or applying for the other programs like the Cultural Representative Program or the Cultural Exchange Program, any of the Disney International programs, this is probably why you're watching. So I was part of the first program to come back after COVID, so the program actually was stopped for several years. And I was in my second year, which is when you can apply. You have to have finished second year to be able to do it in between second and third year, or after the first year of your masters if you're doing a masters. And it's only specific courses as well. I did international tourism management at MMU, Manchester Met, but only certain universities and certain courses are eligible. So I'll pop a little screenshot here, or you can just head over to the Yummy Jobs website. So a little bit about the program. It is basically a split program, so you do 6 months in one role and 6 months in the other, and in the meantime you do courses for a university called Central Michigan. You never have to go up to Michigan, because if you guys know the geography of America, which I don't really say, I do tourism, it's like right at the top and Florida's right at the bottom. So yeah, you never have to go to Central Michigan. So I remember applying over the summer, and we didn't know if the program was going to come back. I had a really good mentor at my university who I was probably bothering every day to see if the program was coming back, and he was very helpful in helping me get my CV and everything in shape. So I'd highly recommend finding someone at your university who specialises in CV and careers and placements, because they are so helpful. Like, most universities will have a team dedicated to that, and I cannot stress this enough. They are so helpful because they want you to succeed, because it makes their university look good. Yeah, so we were messaging a lot over the summer break, and he informed me that they definitely were bringing the program back. So I was super excited. He was like, get everything ready, we'll get your CV and your cover letter, which is what you have to submit to Yummy Jobs before you even get a pre-screen interview or you even get a chance with Disney. They handle all of the pre-stuff, just kind of vet everyone, because so many people apply for these programs. So let me look at the dates, because I don't know what the dates were. Why can't I find this information? My notes app could be studied, like actually studied. Okay, I'm back, I found it. So I think it probably is done a lot sooner now. This was like trying to figure out if it was coming back, COVID times and all that. So I screenshotted to say application submitted, and that was on the 23rd of September 2022. Then I had my academic exchange interview booked for the 17th of October, and I picked the 2 o'clock slot. Don't know why, but that was whatever was available. So yeah, so then that was October 17th. I'm going to do a little timeline here so you can see it between the waffle. But I don't know if you can see this very well, but on this side I had all my notes, and then on the left was me in my interview. And I did kind of have some subtle Disney nods in the background, and I wore a casual top with like a suit jacket over the top to make it look a little bit more formal, because at the end of the day it is a job interview. Because it's not an in-person interview doesn't mean you can turn up in a dressing gown. Like, dress for what you're trying to do. Then it was a wait. On the 24th of October I then got told, yep, you can apply for Disney into the next stage. So this was when you got told about what date it was going to be in London, and you go to Disney HQ in Hammersmith, which is an experience in itself. That building is so cool. But you had a specific link, so you couldn't just go on the website and apply. Like, you had to have had a link from Yummy Jobs to be able to get the application. And this is what the screen looks like in case anybody wanted to see that. I wouldn't worry too much about that application, because Yummy Jobs have kind of done the work for Disney, so they're really just trying to get all your information onto their system basically. Then on the 2nd of November I got an email from Disney saying action required, and I was like, but it's fine. That you just have to upload a copy of your passport and some certain documents. I think that was just your passport and something else. And then that was where I had to put my role preferences in. Now I'll quickly show you what the page looks like. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. This was the description of quick service food and beverage. So that would be working at like Woody's Lunchbox at Toy Story, or it could be working at the stalls around the parks, or at like the food booths at Epcot at one of the festivals, things like that. So the roles available when I applied were quick service food and beverage, merchandise, attractions, seater, and lifeguard. So the character attendant, I think, was also there. It must have been because my friend Charlie did it. But character performer wasn't there because I think I might have tried, although I think I'm not the height. Anyway, yeah, character performer was there. I put for my high interest in attractions and merchandise because I always wanted to work at Disney attraction and merchandise was what I had the most experience in. I did have some food and beverage experience, which obviously topped up in my CV, but I did put that as medium preference, and then I did medium to high preferences for character attendant and character performer, but then we were later told we couldn't do character performer because they didn't have all the roles back after COVID. And then the other option of lifeguard I put no interest in because I don't have interest in it. I'm not a strong swimmer, and you have to do like a whole like swim, like I think you have to do like a swim test on like the first day of your program, and I was like, no, not for me, thank you. I didn't want to be responsible for life and death. And don't be afraid to put some of little or medium interest. You don't have to put high interest for everything, because if you might be unhappy in your role, you have to do it for 6 to 12 months. If you do character attendant or character performer and even lifeguard, I think that you're the same for the whole 12 months. They're the only 3 roles that you don't change. So don't put things because you don't want Disney to think you only want to do certain roles. Obviously don't just put high interest for one role and no interest for the others, because they know you have to do a split role most of the time. So be honest with yourself and just use your common sense. Like if you really would hate to do that role, don't put any interest for it, and then talk about it in your interview. It is literally just a guide. They have that on the interview day. They'll say, oh, I saw you put high interest for this, why was that? And then you talk about your experience and say, this is why I think I'd be good for that role. You see, it all makes sense. Disney know what they're doing. They're a big company. Another role came up for us for vacation planner, and I was like, oh my gosh, please let me do this one, because I literally do a tourism degree and plan holidays all the time. But again, that one was later taken off with character performer because they didn't have it available. So yeah, I submitted all of that, and then you submit to the Disney Onboarding Central all of your information. It was passport and a candidate form. I think it was like your address and contact number, things like that. And it kind of comes up on a website that looks like, and yeah, that's kind of what the website looks like with all the Disney onboarding stuff. My interview date was Friday the 12th of November, 2 days before my birthday, and that was at Disney HQ in Hammersmith, London, so it's just outside central London. Super easy to get to. I stayed over in a hotel the night before on my own, just so I mean, I have really bad luck with public transport, and I did not want to risk being late because it's an early start for the day, and I wanted to make sure that I was prepared, and I literally stayed around the corner so that I didn't have to rely on any public transport on the day, because my train the night before was delayed, and I was like, imagine if I had that problem the next day. I was coming from Manchester as well, so I was like, let's not risk it. If you're local and you know the subway, that's not it. If you're local and you know the underground well, then you could risk it, but I'd highly recommend just paying the money if you can and get the hotel, because I am a panicker and a worrier and an overthinker. I'll go through all the questions and tips at the end of this video for each stage and break it up. I'll do a little chapter so you can skip to which section you need. So to do a quick overline here, and I will put the full timeline here for you. Finding out when I got the job was an absolute fiasco. Like I said, this was first time they'd opened the program again after COVID, and it was a very stressful time. So my interview day, like I said, was the 12th of November. I didn't get confirmation that I was going on the program until March 2023 to fly out in July 2023. Now I'm pretty sure they've changed this now and it's done, I think it's the same year. Like we got told it would be 6 weeks. 6 weeks came, nothing. The people who were doing the cultural exchange program, which is just a short summer program, were told within those 6 weeks. And so all of us who were about to uproot their lives for an entire year didn't know about this, and we were flying out pretty much a month later after they would be flying out in June. We would be flying out in July. So I thought, all right, I'll give them another 4 weeks. Then Christmas came, nothing. New Year, nothing. And then it was January and I was starting to panic. I was like, oh my gosh, they're not doing the program anymore, something's happened, they're not doing it. So it was from the 12th of November to the 13th of March. We got this email, the email we all dream of getting, and it said, congratulations, and I was like, ah! Yeah, This was the email I dreamed of. I wanted attractions and merch, and I got attractions and merch, so I was very, very happy. These are my little attractions and merch. This was my merch roll. I was a strawberry at Hollywood Studios on Hollywood Boulevard. So as soon as you walked into the park, I was at the little merchandise store right at the front. Before you even get into the park, you can go to that store. Then the Crossroads with the little Mickey on top. The Oscars, which is where they do the stroller rentals and the ECVs. And then the 2 stores on the left and the right. And Sid's, where you get all your PhotoPass stuff, and the Best Pin location as well. So yeah, this was our little costume, and I love the costume. I miss wearing it. This costume, which is the type B costume, and the A costume, they're both based on the outfits that Walt and Lily wore on their first date. And then I was Team Pack, which is the, I mean, they wear a different costume now, but it was the Main Street gas flow at Magic Kingdom. So all the fireworks, parades, cavalcades. This was me. I was the one with the little wand screaming at you to get behind the yellow line. That was me. Apologies for that. It's for your own good. Now I'm going to talk to you about some tips and tricks for each stage. So the first stage is the CV and the cover letter. I've got mine up here. My main top tip for any CV, especially for the Disney programs, would be to make it personal. Don't be putting the Disney font all over your cover letter and CV, or like, I don't use a headshot either. That's quite American, and you'll see it on a lot of Canva templates if you use Canva, like me. Not necessary. Like I say, it's very American. Always have an About Me section at the top, and use the company name in the top left. Now, you don't need to use Yummy Jobs in this case because you're applying for Disney. So you need to talk about how this... Hi, I'm Becca, blah, 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 blah. This is what I've got. This is my top qualifications. I've got this experience, this amount of years experience. I do this course, and this is why I think I would be the perfect person for the Disney Academic Exchange Program, and name it. Personalize every single CV that you send out in general. Then you want your contact details right at the top, and then I kind of do work experience, and you should always do it in chronological order. So it should be your most recent job experience to your oldest one. Now, if you have a lot of work experience, do not send a 3-page CV. It should be 1 page of A4 that is readable, not too small, not too big, and you want to be putting the name of the role, the company, the dates you worked there, and the key skills. Now, the reason I say about personalizing your CV is because if you've done digital marketing role, for example, none of those really good skills are going to be really that relevant for the program. So even if it's an amazing experience, you need to think about what transferable skills you've got that you can put in. For example, if you've worked in your local cafe for 3 years, you need to talk about money handling, customer service, because Disney is so hot on customer service. You need to be talking about try and be specific, like if you help your local cafe, have you helped increase sales? Have you found a way to, you know, improve the business? Things like that. For example, I worked at Build-A-Bear, which is a very similar role to working for Disney, as in it's all about storytelling and creating magical moments and things like that. So I'll give you an example of one of my little bullet points. Creating unforgettable experiences for guests from a wide range of backgrounds, including an in-store proposal, developed my interpersonal communication skills. So there I've talked about creating amazing experiences, guests from all over the world and from different backgrounds, which is what you'll get at Disney, creating magical moments such as an in-store proposal, and talk about how that's really developed a certain skill that I think Disney would like. That's all in one bullet point. So don't just put time management. Think about how it's going to make them want to hire you, because anyone could just put time management. That's my big tip. For the cover letter, which is what a lot of people get confused about, now it's super simple. Make sure to put Yummy Jobs as the addressee. So you want on the left hand side of any letter to be the recipient. So you're going to I put Yummy Jobs Limited, their full address, and then the date of the letter written. So it was Monday the 19th of September 2022 is when I wrote the letter. And then I've put my name and contact details on the opposite side, on the right hand side at the top. Then I've addressed it to Yummy Jobs saying, Dear Yummy Jobs hiring team, but you could put Dear Yummy Jobs or to whom it may concern, whatever works best for you. That's just what I wanted to do. Then I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 little paragraphs. Each paragraph had maybe 3 or 4 sentences in it. So first paragraph, I would suggest talking about why Disney, because you could do a universal program, you could go and do a study abroad or a placement year for another big company. So I would say, first of all, why Disney? Because they're going to ask you that in your interview, and probably ask it in your pre-screen and your Disney interview. Then any previous experience, most recent previous experience that you think is like the top credentials that you've got. So I talked about how I'd worked for Build-A-Bear, and I'd also assisted Disney Theatrical Group during my time at the theatre, and what key skills that's brought that will help me at Disney. Then I've talked about any other roles, so then that was all merchandise based. Then I talked about my food and beverage roles, because at this point I was just trying to get past the application stage. Then the last stage is all about the academic side of it. So what course I'm on, what I want to get out of the program is how you should end it. So first paragraph is going to be why Disney, why this program, etc. And then your middle section should be all about your experience and your top skills. Now keep it brief, because they can just look at your CV. So try and really tailor it and use your key skills that make you special. Then your last paragraph should be all about you and your academic studies and what you hope to get out of the program. And then I just do a little sentence about thank you for reading, hope to hear from you soon, and then I've done my digital signature and signed it. These are my little Disney nods which I've put, and it matches both my CV and cover letter. Try and keep your fonts consistent throughout all of it and for both, just for if they have to put it through a PDF processor, it just is the cleanest way. And if you download and convert any document into a PDF, please re-download it and check it, because the worst thing you want is for half the writing to be missed off from your document, especially if you're using a program like Canva like I do. Just double check. So hopefully after you've done that, if you have any questions, just let me know down below. But hopefully after you've done your CV and cover letter, you will hopefully get a pre-screen interview, which will all be done by Yummy Jobs again. Now my top tips for the pre-screen interview is relax. The team at Yummy Jobs are so nice, and they want to find the best people for Disney, and they want you to succeed. Nobody from Yummy Jobs or for Disney are wanting you to come in the room and test you and make you fail. They want to find the perfect candidates for the program. It makes their lives easier, and it makes your life easier. That goes for pretty much any job interview as well. Like, they want you to walk in and be the perfect candidate, so just give them all the reasons to be. That was a good tip, actually. Yeah. But my biggest tip is just to be smiley and professional. Try and keep the background as professional as you can. Like, this would be a pretty decent one, I'd say. Having a little subtle Disney nod in the background, or with a necklace or a pin or something like that is fine. I wouldn't come in wearing your Disney Spirit jerseys and your Mickey ears. I think it's just a little bit unprofessional. Try and keep it smart casual if you can. And that would be it for that. And then according to the questions, I remember getting asked why I think I would be good for the program. Would I be okay living with a roommate? How would I resolve any roommate conflicts? How would I cope with the heat? How would you keep other guests safe from the heat? Have you got any tips for that? And if a guest was going to complain, how would you handle it? And basically, they're asking you if you've showed them a time where you've handled a complaint. I'm pretty sure in any customer facing role that you've done, you'll have handled a complaint. I know I've handled a lot, and at Disney I handled even more. And if you haven't ever handled one, how? Don't just say, oh, it's Disney, I'll just give them something free. Don't say that, even though it's true. That was kind of like I think like a 15-20 minute conversation, and to be honest, we ended up just chatting about things like completely other things. Like, we ended up talking about football for a while, which is one of my main hobbies, and they just kind of want to get to know you as a person and see if your personality is a right fit for Disney, because I'm telling you now, it's not for everybody. Show your enthusiasm and engage with them, okay? Easy things, easy things. That's kind of all my tips for the pre-screen interview, to be honest. I know for the cultural representative program, you actually still have to go down to Epping, which is the Yummy Jobs head queue. I think it's just outside of Essex. Wait, is it Epping? I think it is. It's near Essex. But for the CEP and the academic exchange program, still now you don't have to travel down there, which is so nice, because it's expensive to travel down there. Then if you have to go again for your Disney interview, and then if you're unlucky and have to go again for your visa interview for the US, like, that's 3 trips down south. If you're from up north, that's expensive. That's expensive. But the program is expensive, so, you know, Be warned, we'll go through that on the next episode. And it's your Disney interview day. Woo! You've got on to the final interview stage. Congratulations, it is so exciting. I'm so happy for you. If you're in this position right now, take a breath. I'm sure it'll be coming up in the next few months for you, because as I'm filming this, it's August. So you're probably either doing your applications and you've got both your interviews coming up soon. So don't panic. Again, you want to dress smart. I would recommend dressing in like a little suit. No Disney ears, nothing gimmicky, no, again, try not to be too Disney at this point. They know you're interested in the Disney company because you've gotten this far. You're literally going to be stood in Disney HQ. They have enough Disney decor. You don't need to bring it. You'll get your little badge and it'll say like your name, and you can keep the lanyard as well, which is really cool. It says like the Walt Disney Company on it. Amazing. You can take pictures, ask questions, be engaging. From the person you meet on reception, you need to be so nice. Funnily enough, on my Disney interview day, I was the first person there. I was there before the Yummy Jobs representative, Alexis. That's how crazy I am. She actually thought that I was Alexis. She thought I worked for Yummy Jobs because I was so like, hello, how are you? Chatty, chatty, chatty. Which was really funny. And I was like, oh no, I'm here to interview. And she was like, oh. It was very funny and she was super sweet. So yeah, just always be really nice, kind and professional to everybody you meet. I know other big companies do this. I don't know if Disney do this. This is just what I know other corporations do. After your interview day, they will go around to everyone in the building that you may have interacted with and said, oh, what was this person? Was everyone nice? Was anyone a bit rude? That counts a lot. And just be nice in general. If you're going to go and work for Disney, you need to have some kind of magical happiness about you anyway. Trust me, you'll need it. Go up to the room and they give you a little tour of HQ, which is so cool. What a dream office that would be, by the way. Like, the dream office. And yeah, so you go in and then you have your presentation, and then I did my Disney interview first. Now, the kind of questions they asked me, that she was so nice. Like, she'd done the Disney college program, so she was really, you know, clued up with what to expect. And she basically was asking me about my experience, what roles I want to do, why I put merchandise and attractions as such a high choice. And she kind of went through your top 3 choices, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it was your top 3 choices. Kind of chat to you about Disney as well. We ended up chatting so much that we ended up talking about how she went to she was on the opening media team for Galaxy's Edge. She was there on the first day and she met AJ from Disney Food Blog, which is a flex. If you know, you know. And honestly, they're so nice. They, like I said, they want you to succeed. They'll ask you mainly about work experience and why Disney and all that, and just be honest. Don't try and fake the answers. Don't be something you're not. Just be yourself and give relevant skills. That's all they want. The next part of it was your Disney academic side of the interview, which was with a representative from CMU. The guy we had no longer works for CMU. He just retired, but he was the one who founded the relationship with Disney to start the program, which I'd done through some research your people. I was looking on LinkedIn, all of that kind of thing to find out more. And they kind of asked me, you know, how will I manage my schedule? How will I balance like work life with the assignments you have to do, which are super, super easy, by the way. Don't sweat it at all. And so I talked about how during my degree I'd worked 2 jobs and ran a musical theatre society, so I was really good at managing my own schedule, things like that. The question they will probably definitely ask is, what is your strongest achievement academically and what is your weakest link academically? Top tip, they will definitely ask you that, I'm pretty sure. And then he was like, have you got any questions for me? Same with the Disney interview. Any questions for me? Always have at least 2. And don't be some basic like, what's your favourite Disney character? So yeah, like I said, everyone is rooting for you to succeed. So that would be my top tips. And like I said, just be nice to everyone in the building and interact with other people, because there's about 10 of us. There probably is more now as the programme grows in popularity. So yeah, just be nice to everyone else who's interviewing as well. It's not a competition. They'll take as many people as they want to based on skills and experience and professionalism. So be kind. So that is my top tips all about how to apply and what the application process looks like for the Disney Academic Exchange Programme, but they probably work a little bit for the Cultural Exchange Programme, the General College Programme. It probably works a little bit different in America, and the Cultural Representative Programme. If you have any questions at all, comment them down below or message me over on Instagram or TikTok. They'll also be linked somewhere here in the description. If you're not already following me there, go follow me, because I've got a full academic exchange series coming up on my TikTok and Instagram, so keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions though, please feel free to ask me at any point about anything. I'm more than happy to answer. I know it's a really scary time and there's not a lot of information about this program specifically, so fire away. The next episode of this series is going to be about what to do before the program, kind of like cost wise, visa, all that stuff, documentation, all the boring stuff that you need to know, what to pack, what not to pack, all that kind of thing, flights, etc. So stay tuned, and if there's anything you're specifically looking for, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.